Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and today I am driving a 2013 Dodge Grand Caravan SXT. Up front is a 3.6 liter V6, and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Dodge Grand Caravan for two reasons. First of all, I haven't driven one in quite some time, and now here in 2026, Dodge's lineup looks very, very different than it did in 2013. So we'll talk a little bit about that, but also I truly believe that these Caravans, Town & Countries, maybe even the Volkswagen Routan, were kind of the backbone of my youth. Growing up, 2013, I was a freshman in high school. Everyone had one of these. Everyone's dad and mom had one of these. And so this is a little bit of reliving my childhood for sure, but I want to talk about why these vans were so important and why we don't really get something quite like them here today. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 3.6 liter Pentastar V6 under the hood. Well, by 2013, this was the only engine available here for the Grand Caravan. It makes 283 horsepower. It's torquey enough, and the 3.6 liter throughout the 2010s was the workhorse for Stellantis at the time, FCA, things like that. The Wrangler still uses this. The base model Dodge Rams used to use this. Dodge Chargers and Challengers at their base model used to use this. And so there's millions of these engines out and about, and they have their oil issues for sure. This particular one does burn oil, but not at an egregious rate. Now, prior to 2013, you could find this with the 3.8 liter V6 from the JK Wrangler. You could also get the 4 liter V6 that was shared with vehicles like the Chrysler Pacifica. But after 2011, it was 3.6 until the day this died in 2020. Like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed automatic transmission. I think it does the job fine. It shifts well and it holds on to itself. It doesn't nearly have the transmission issues that the 3rd and 4th generation Dodge Grand Caravans had. Not to say that these are bulletproof units, but just way more reliable than their predecessors, so I like to see that. Last but not least, of course, the Grand Caravan is front-wheel drive. How does it feel to drive the Grand Caravan? Well, it drives great. It is a little bit rougher around the edges, especially suspension-wise, than the Town & Country that Chrysler was putting out, or, of course, now we get the Chrysler Pacifica. I always praise the modern Pacifica for having great suspension. This doesn't. However, it's not awful. On the highway, you're going to be fine. It's just these Midwestern roads beat up your car no matter what, and the Dodge Caravan takes those bumps quite personally. Visibility is good. Driving position is good. You know, the great thing about minivans is that they're usually engineered to be able to be driven by super tall people, super short people, big people, small people, all types of people, because these are more utility vehicles than luxury items. And so it's easy to drive. I would trust my 4'10" friend to drive it. I would trust my 6'5" friend to drive it. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 gauges. Off to the left is the tachometer and coolant temperature. Off to the right is the speedometer and fuel. On the steering wheel, we do have our step and reset button, and off to the right, we have cruise control. It is non-adaptive cruise for 2013, and it works well enough. Off to the left, we do have a climate control vent, headlight switch, and gauge dimmer switch, and moving on to the door, we have power mirrors, power windows, as well as our rear wing windows. So the 3rd row actually does get very small ventilating windows, and you can control that right here. Moving into the center, we do get a little infotainment display. This was pretty cutting edge and modern for 2013. We have aux and USB inputs. It's a touch screen. Again, this wasn't commonplace in cars. 2013, it was starting to get a little bit more common for sure. But being a kid at the time, whoa, touchscreen in a car. that was pretty neat. This infotainment also has a backup camera, which A, is 5 years before the government required it, so that is a nice feature. But B, driving a minivan can sometimes be daunting. It's a little bit larger vehicle than some people are used to, so having a backup camera is a huge win for the Dodge Grand Caravan. Down below that, we have 2 climate control vents, and our climate controls, we have dual zone climate up front, as well as another zone of climate for the rear specifically. Very, very nice to see all of that. Where to send it, fan speed in the center. And then we have some interesting buttons down below. So we have the hazard switch and traction control off, but then we have our econ button that lights up when you hit it, as well as our 110 volt power. Very, very cool to see those here. We have a bunch of cubby space, not only down below those buttons, but we have this openable cubby as well. And we do have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test. And I'm happy to report the 2013 Dodge Grand Caravan SXT passes the big friggin' bottle test. But then we do get even more storage. Minivans and storage go together like peanut butter and jelly, and so you see that here in the Grand Caravan SXT. The seats are fine enough. They are cloth, they're comfortable, and they've held up pretty well for over 260,000 miles. This is not a spring chicken anymore, and yet the seats would make you think so. So very nice to see that. Very happy to see that they've held up as long as they have. However, speaking of seats, of course, we have 2 more rows of seating. So let's go do some back seat reviews. So getting in the back of the Dodge Grand Caravan, here on the key fob, we actually have buttons, I don't think I hit it properly, to power open the rear doors. Absolutely love to see that. Now, before we get in, this does have the stow and go system where it actually folds up into the floor underneath the floor mat, which is very, very nice. But getting into the back, we have a little button down here to power close the door right back up. Absolutely love to see that. Once we are back here, because this is the Dodge version, we don't get too many crazy features. So up here, we do get a DVD player, which is really, really nice. We also do get our climate control, so fan speed, temperature, and where to send it. We get some climate vents up here, but you're not expecting, you know, a Rolls-Royce type experience. We have power windows, which was nice for minivans, still is nice for minivans. And the seat material is the same cloth that you would find up front. Follows through back here. We have some cup holders in the doors as well. Again, power operated doors, grab handles, things like that. I fit very well. 5'11", not a small guy. I fit in the back here. You know, I could sit second row and still have that nice experience spatially, where, you know, some SUVs might kind of cram you into the second row. But the second row of most vehicles is normally pretty good, especially family-oriented ones. The big question mark, is going to be that third row. So let's hop back there. So this is where the big difference actually comes. I'm in the third row and I have tons of space in front of me. I can sit comfortably. I can sit up straight. I'm not hitting the ceiling. My knees aren't hitting the seat in front of me. Overall, like spatially, this makes a lot of sense and works very, very well. So I'm very happy with all of this. We do have a cup holder, some little dividers here. These remind me of the old Zoo Pal plates from when I was a kid. It had, you know, different spots for your green beans and mac and cheese and chicken strips and all that stuff. However, we get 2 cup holders over there. So whoever sits over there gets 2 drinks while I only get 1. A little bit of discrepancy there. But overall, this is why you buy the minivan, not for the second row. A lot of cars do second rows really well. It's for the third row. That paired with the stow and go system, this is an extremely versatile vehicle built directly for parents and families. Every time someone's like, oh, I have 3 kids, what SUV should I buy? And I go, no. Stop right there. You shouldn't be buying an SUV. You should be buying a minivan. Are they cool? No. But are they freaking awesome? Yes. And until you live with one and live with an SUV, it's hard to tell. But living with an SUV is like trying to walk around with a peg leg compared to sprinting in proper running shoes here in the minivan. That's my PSA for the day. Let's take a look at what trunk space is left when the seats are up and how we can fix that. Right around the back of the Dodge Grand Caravan, and we do have a button in there, as well as we can hit the button on the key fob for the tailgate. There we go, and it is a power tailgate. It's gotten a little slow in its old bones, but that's okay. It still works, and I give it mad props for that. Once we are back here, we do have the close button right here, but we won't hit that quite yet. We do get some storage options around here, and of course, the seats do fold into the floor. So, pull that and pull that. So you pull the number 1 tab. Number 2 is down here. That folds that down. And then 3 you use along with this, and you fold it around and down in. So 2 to fold it down, and then 3 releases it, and then you pull with this. There you go. Now they are folded flat into the floor. Normally there would be a panel covering that up as well. Extremely versatile. If you need to carry a big inflatable raft at a moment's notice, that's a poor example because you could deflate that. If you have to move a love seat randomly at the side of the road, bing, bam, boom, it's right down like that. To put them back up, pull this number 4 to get them back up. Pull like that. There you go. Bring the headrest back up. And now we're back in business right away. And so there you go. That is the rear cargo space of the Dodge Grand Caravan. Hit the button here and run away like you lit a fuse as the tailgate comes power right back down. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I've never overly loved the Grand Caravan. I think it looks fine. This was definitely the more aggressive, angular, pissed off looking minivan that you could have bought at the time, especially when minivans are always so caring and so smooth and bubbly and rounded for the most part, at least post 1999. This was kind of the brute of the bunch. This was kind of the no BS. This was the man van in many scenarios, and so the looks definitely reflect that. Now, of course, there are some blemishes on this particular car. However, as I mentioned, 260,000 miles, especially up here in Indiana, in the Rust Belt, do not come easily. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the Dodge Grand Caravan from 2013? Well, I always like stepping into these Mopars from this era. This was the era where I grew up. We were a Mopar family for my childhood, and so there's always a little bit of warm nostalgia with these kinds of vans, and so that's always a treat. However, the other big thing is the fact that this does have 265,000 miles on it. And so these cars, these vans, tend to have somewhat of a reputation of unreliability. Dodge has not prided itself on reliability. However, every one of these vans that I see, film, review, all of that, always have high mileage, and this van is still going. The transmission has no signs of slipping or giving up. The engine, albeit it does burn a little bit of oil, seems healthy otherwise. You can wring this thing's neck and it's going to perform. At 265,000 miles, that is a tall order. And yet this van still does it. This van still delivers the promise that it made 13 years ago. And so while sure, you know what? It might not be pretty. This isn't the prettiest van I've ever seen. It's not even close to the prettiest car I've ever seen. And maybe the Dodge name isn't something that you can brag about at your next dinner. But gosh darn it, is it good? It's good at the job it wants to do, which is carry people around. And it's going to do that job for a lot longer than 265,000 miles. And it's been doing that job for a very long time as well. So love it or hate it, the Dodge Grand Caravan is a good van, and it sticks around. And that, well, that's pretty special. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Tyler for letting me borrow his Grand Caravan for today's video. Tyler has been absolutely wonderful to work with. Him and his father came out on this chilly Indiana morning to let me film their Grand Caravan, and I appreciate both of them. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.